Yo, what is up guys? Welcome back to the SUPES channel. My name is Matthew Ramos, and on this channel, I aim to entertain, inform, and inspire using the topic of discussion as always, which is superheroes. So guys, now that Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is finally released, today I'm gonna rank this movie across all of the Spider-Man films that we have gotten. And I'm gonna give you guys my rankings of the Spider-Man movies from bottom to the top. So let's get right into it. So starting off at number 7, we have Spider-Man 3. Now, although a lot of people really hate this film, I happen to like it a lot more than the usual general audience. But just because, you know, Tobey Maguire was really the first superhero icon that I grew up with, and he just had so much heart, and I had so much love for his role as Spider-Man that going into Spider-Man 3, the movie could have been complete butt cheeks, and I still would have loved it. But yeah, despite that, you know, ranking it across the 7 Spider-Man films that we have, I'm putting it at number 7 because I don't happen to like it as much as I like the rest of the Spider-Man films. But yeah, number 7, we got Spider-Man 3. So coming in at number 6, we have The Amazing Spider-Man 2. You know, going into this film, I had very high expectations, and the only reason this film was a flop for me was because it didn't meet those high expectations. Similar to Batman vs Superman, where people had, you know, extremely high expectations, and when those expectations weren't met, you know, people hated on the film. But The Amazing Spider-Man 2 was a very enjoyable movie for me. You know, Andrew Garfield is my favorite Spider-Man, and he just brought so much heart to the Spider-Man Peter Parker character. And also, again, seeing more of that amazing on-screen relationship with Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy, it was just a good sequel to the Amazing Spider-Man saga. And unfortunately, we couldn't get the 3rd and 4th film, which were projected to come out. But The Amazing Spider-Man 2, I'm ranking it as number 6 out of the 7 Spider-Man movies that we've ever received. So coming in at number 5, we have Spider-Man Homecoming. Now, this is a film that everybody really likes, and to be quite frank, I don't like it that much. Yes, I love the whole connected MCU aspect. I love Iron Man, but I just had a lot of issues with the way Spider-Man and Peter Parker was portrayed. The way the character, and it's not really Tom Holland's fault, but it's more the way the character is written out. You know, I disliked the advanced technology in Spider-Man's suit, the way it had its own conscience, its own AI system. You know, this version of Spider-Man felt more like an Iron Man Jr. than an actual Spider-Man. And I like the more traditional route where he's just wearing a nice suit that doesn't talk back to him. And I also had a lot of issues with the motivations behind the Spider-Man character, and a lot of people like to say that Tom Holland is the most comic accurate Spider-Man, which I could see from where they're coming from. You know, he's got the looks, he's got that comic accurate look, but when it comes to what truly makes up Spider-Man, what truly makes Peter Parker the hero that we all know and love, it didn't see that comic accuracy, that heart that I got from the Amazing Spider-Man series and the Spider-Man series with Tobey Maguire. So coming in at number 5, we have Spider-Man Homecoming. Next on the list, we have the original Spider-Man starring Tobey Maguire. You know, this movie was one of my first superhero movies I've ever watched, and this movie has personally impacted my life in ways that you can't even comprehend. But I just absolutely love the original Spider-Man. You know, it really portrayed that Spider-Man Peter Parker character straight out of the comics. And Tobey Maguire brought so much heart, and I just loved his portrayal of Spider-Man. And his portrayal of Spider-Man is what really got me into superheroes in the first place. You know, this original movie was one of my first superhero movies I've ever watched. And Tobey Maguire just made me absolutely fall in love with the Spider-Man character. And that's where I started getting into action figures and comics. And this movie is what got me interested in exploring more of Spider-Man and more of the superhero universe. So coming in at number 4, we have Spider-Man. Now coming in at number 3, we have The Amazing Spider-Man. So this is the first film of Andrew Garfield's run as Spider-Man, and I absolutely love this movie. You know, I love it more than the general audience just because I love Andrew Garfield's portrayal as Peter Parker and Spider-Man. Not only did he have just such a, you know, modernized origin, I felt that in this movie we got a completely different take on Spider-Man, and it had its own twist in that the way he crafted his first suit that he used in that movie, it was very clever, very understandable, you know, from the track suits to the running shoes to the sunglass lenses. You know, it was just a very modernized take on Spider-Man. And I felt like if there's any superhero movie that has a realistic sort of Spider-Man, it's definitely this movie. And not only is this movie the most realistic version of Spider-Man, but Andrew Garfield just completely slayed his character as Peter Parker and Spider-Man. You know, this movie is what really made me fall in love with, you know, Andrew Garfield's portrayal as Spider-Man, because I felt that he brought so much heart to the character. And as well as, you know, connecting on an insane level with Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy, and that relationship is the best on-screen superhero love relationship that we've ever gotten across any superhero film. So their on-screen chemistry was just absolutely amazing. You know, it was very comic accurate. The whole entire plot connected from the disappearance of Peter's father to the revelations of Dr. Connors becoming the Lizard. And it was just a Spider-Man masterpiece of a movie. And I really enjoyed it. So that's why The Amazing Spider-Man is coming in at number 3. Next on the list, we have arguably one of the greatest superhero comic book movies of all time. We have Spider-Man 2, starring Tobey Maguire. You know, from beginning to end, this film is just a cinematic masterpiece. From, you know, delving more deep into the Peter Parker Spider-Man character, you know, connecting that world. I felt like in the end of the original Spider-Man, there was still 2 separate worlds. But in this movie, I felt like those worlds were just fused. And just Peter Parker and Spider-Man are just one after this movie. And I also loved the portrayal of Dr. Octopus and the way that those action sequences played out with Spider-Man and Dr. Octopus. That train sequence is just iconic across superhero culture. And this film from beginning to end is just a cinematic masterpiece. You know, we finally get Mary Jane finding out that Peter is Spider-Man. We have Peter having that conflict of who he really wants to be. Does he want to be Peter Parker, or does he want to, you know, make the sacrifices in order to be the hero, be Spider-Man? And, you know, we see that revelation come across in this movie. And as well as, You know, we finally got Harry Osborn finding out that Peter killed, or that's Peter's Spider-Man, and that Peter is the one who killed his father, which is the Green Goblin. You know, I felt like in this movie, everything that was, all the questions that were left, or all the connected story points that could have been furthered from the first film, all played out in this movie. And everything that happened in the first film led into this film, and it was just a cinematic masterpiece from beginning to end. So that's why I have Spider-Man coming in at number 2. Finally, coming in at number 1, a film that we just recently got. Coming in at number 1 on this all-time Spider-Man movie list is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. You know, this film was absolutely perfect. There is not one critique that I have about this movie. You know, from beginning to end, it is jam-packed with heart, action, and depth across all of its characters. You know, every single character worked well on screen together. That Peter Parker Miles Morales relationship worked amazing. And going into this film, no one expected this film to be this good. But, you know, with those low expectations, coming off of Sony's previous track record, this film absolutely skyrocketed through, you know, the amount of expectations that it had going into this movie. And it is just perfect to a T. The different animation style, just everything about it. I just don't have any critiques about this movie. I loved absolutely everything. It is jam-packed. Every single scene in this movie I felt is significant and serves the overall plot. So overall, and it also did a really nice job introducing everyone to the character of Miles Morales. And it gave that character justice. And yes, it was a film packed with a bunch of different Spider-Man, but at the end of the day, it was a movie about Miles Morales. And I just absolutely love that. And so this is why Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is my number 1 all-time Spider-Man movie. So there you guys have it. There's my all-time Spider-Man movie list. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys like this video, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and see you guys next time.